is doing well today. Let me plug in my laptop so I don't, so we don't run out of, so we don't run out of juice today. And isn't this great on a day like today that we can just relax and, you know, just don't have to go into class. Unfortunately, I have to go into class after this. I have to go to drive all the way to Ypsilanti. But, it is what it is. Unless main campus is closed due to snow, and I don't think it is. If the main campus is closed, please feel free to let me know because that would definitely save me a trip. But something tells me it's not closed. So, how is everyone doing today? Anyone have any plans for the weekend?
I'm going home for the weekend.
Okay. So do you stay at Ypsilanti on campus?
Yeah, I live in the dorms, and I'm going back to my hometown, Mount Pleasant. So,
Oh, Mount Pleasant, Michigan.
yep.
Okay. Um, they have casinos up there, right?
Oh yeah, Soaring Eagle. It's like you can go there at 18.
And you've gone there?
I've gone there.
Okay. Okay. What do you play? Blackjack or something, or roulette, or?
I like to play blackjack and baccarat.
Okay. Okay. I heard blackjack. I'm sorry. I heard that roulette. I was just watching a YouTube short. And this guy was like, a roulette wheel is as predictable as anything else, and you can actually tip the roulette wheel operator, and he's done it. He or she has done it so long that the where he positions the marker, whatever it is, he can like the marble or whatever you want to call it. I apologize. I don't know the proper term. So
No, I get what
pure,
you're saying.
yeah, purists out there want to be like, that's not what that's called, but you know what I mean. The way he sets it, it seems random, but if you tip him, he can set it to. It's almost like 90%. He knows exactly where it's going to land because he's done it so much. Because every roulette table has like their own vibration patterns, their own movement patterns, and the way he sets it, he knows kind of where it's going to land if you tip him well enough. It's probably, if you run the numbers, it's pretty good. So,
Yeah, I've never heard of that.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
cool.
you should look it up if you enjoy going to the casino. Not that I'm encouraging it, but the one thing I do encourage is to know and understand what we're going to talk about now, and that is Ethernet. And so today we are going to talk about um, Ethernet details, trunking, and remember how yesterday or Tuesday I was all high on, spanning tree, and I still, it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. But sometimes you want to disable spanning tree. Sometimes you don't want it because sometimes one thing that spanning tree does is it decides which ports to forward and which ports to block, and sometimes you don't want the blocking. Okay, so here is an example. Here is so we're this is just to wet your beak, if you will. So let's press on again, just to review some things about Ethernet. And where do we study Ethernet? Well, we study it. Where is it in the OSI model? Just to review, and that is of course right here, right here. This is where it basically lives. This is as we know, Ethernet is essentially an L2 technology. Now, some of you are like, well, wait a second. If you have two, oh my gosh, so 1 second, somebody joins. Okay, all right. If you have two routers, Okay, so here we have two routers, and they're connected to each other. Now, I just use this squiggly line that implies serial. So let's get that out of there. It's just habit. So let's say you connect these two routers just with a crossover cable. Is that not possibly Ethernet? Even though it's a point-to-point connection, you can have it's like connecting two laptops, for example, with a crossover cable. That's still Ethernet. So yeah, you can have Ethernet, but wait a second. Here's two routers. So in this case, is Ethernet at layer three technology? Is that what it is? Because routers, forward by IP address. And the answer is no. This is still L2, okay? Because the IP addresses live between routers, between them. But when they connect directly to each other, like for example, when they're adjacent, if you will, with each other, that's still layer 2 to connect between them. So they are simply sharing MAC addresses. But the weird thing is, even though it's just a L2 technology, you need L3 to be there as well, because that's the nature of TCP/IP. So it's kind of like if you are if let's say here's another trusty router, and this router is connected to a layer 2 switch. Let me get you the infamous icon for layer 2 switch, and then here you have a PC1 and PC2 connecting to each other. So let's get another, we'll call this 2, and we'll call this PC1. Now, even though if PC1 directly wants to connect to PC2, like if PC2 is not a PC, somebody wants to join again. So if PC1 wants to message PC2, maybe PC2 is a printer or fax, so it's something that everyone wants to connect to. They are connecting to each other via layer 2, via the MAC address, which is the labeling or addressing protocol for Ethernet. Okay? But even though they address each other directly via layer 2, via MAC addresses, they still need appropriate IP addresses in the same subnet or VLAN or network or LAN to be able to connect to each other. I know that's weird, but think of TCP/IP as if you've ever gone to a diner and just ordered a simple cheeseburger. Okay, there are questions that they just need to ask. What kind of cheese do you want on it? Do you want onions, tomato, lettuce? How do you want it cooked? Medium or medium rare, well done, rare? Do you want fries with that, or do you want onion rings? These are all, it's like in your mind, you're just like lady or miss servers, even whether it's a man or a woman, you're kind of like, hey, I'm just hungry. Just give me a burger. I don't care. But these are questions that they have to ask you. It's kind of like when these two want to connect to each other through TCP/IP, over Ethernet. You just happen, you have that layer 2 frame that they're communicating with, but within that layer 2 frame resides the layer 3 packet. And the layer 3 packet, there's just some things that have to be considered. They have to have IPs that are different. I don't know how many times students will actually try to put the same IP addresses on two different PCs. That boggles my mind, but it is what it is. But they have to be different IPs, but even though they're different, they have to be in the same subnet in order for them to communicate. And I know that's not intuitive, but that is just the way it is. So what does that have to do with this right here? Well, these interfaces, they have to have IP addresses in the same subnet. That's why that /30 is so very vital, because it saves on IP address space. Okay, but nevertheless, we are working on L2. So we're not really considering IP addresses. That's L3 right there. L3. But we have to, well, I mean, we're not focusing on IP addressing, but they have to be present. They have to be put on these PCs in order for anything to happen. It's just the whole form has to be filled out like you're ordering a cheeseburger from a diner. You may not care about what cheese is on it, but you have to. The lady or the server has to put that on her pad before she submits it to the cook to prepare your food. Ethernet reminder, we have to remember that we have the destination MAC address, source MAC address, and we have the different type. And here's the payload, and we have the frame check sequence. And again, we have encapsulation because here in this example that I gave with encapsulation, sorry, that is the wrong one here. With encapsulation, uh, with this right here, as I said, with encapsulation, if, for example, PC1 wants to go out to the internet right here and wants to go to Amazon server right here, um, when the frame gets to the router right here, the router will then de-encapsulate and it will go to the layer 2 and exchange the layer 2 information with locally important information. So for example, if you have the PC this side and this is Ethernet, so it's just going to exchange MAC addresses and then it'll exchange MAC addresses here, but the IP address remains the same. However, if we were doing serial connection, which is yet another layer 2 technology, like the point-to-point protocol or the Cisco proprietary physical layer 2 connection, it's going to de-encapsulate and it's going to replace, as it moves from this side to this side, it's going to replace this MAC address with whatever proprietary addressing this point-to-point protocol actually has. And actually, it doesn't really have any addressing to it because point-to-point protocol knows that it's just going to forward to its adjacent neighbor. There really is no layer 2. It's just a very rudimentary, almost like machine assembly type labeling. It just really doesn't even have a label. It just knows to forward it to here because it's point to point. It only has one direction to go, and the same thing goes to the other side. Anyways, so that's encapsulation, and we remember the address space is flat, meaning as opposed to Ethernet, which is logical. So with Ethernet, you have 192.168.2.23/24, and then we have 192.168.2.1/24. We can actually see there's a logic to it, so we can see that they're part of the same, I guess you could say, network ID or class. So we have this, and we have this right here, and the logic of it is this is the host, that's a network. So the reward is that we just know if it's 192.168.4.67/24, we just know that just by looking at it, we can tell that this will have a different network ID just by looking at it. And of course, we all know what the /24 is. That's not the same as Ethernet. With Ethernet, this is flat. So there's really no rhyme or reason how these are brought together. They're just this one computer's matched up one-to-one with this one. This computer's matched up one-to-one with this one. There's no notion of network and host. It's all just one thing. They all just go together. Now, there is a little bit of a division right here. The first half is called, this block ID or burned-in ID or something like that, and this is called, the host portion of it. But really, it's all taken in conjunction with each other. And I know that the order, there is a little bit of order because Spanning Tree chooses its root bridge in part and parcel based off the MAC address in terms of what's greater and what's lesser. But I'm just saying, in general, it's flat. So it's just a unique. So this address is unique, almost like your driver's license or social security number or whatever. And they're wired in. They're wired in. They're burnt in. They are burnt in. Okay, so let's again the it's Ethernet physical layer one, and we kind of like went over this. I'm not going to regurgitate this. Relatively Ethernet is relatively short distances. Okay, we have 100 base T up to 100 meters. So what that means is you have, let's say you have just any network device. If you connect an Ethernet cable to anything, whether it's a host computer or server or another switch, you can only go 100 meters before there is a drop off in signal. Now, the drop off in signal might be caused by radio frequency interference, RFI, or actually RFI is for wireless 802.11. When it comes to physical connections, that anything not wireless, meaning wired, it's generally electromagnetic interference or EMI. EMI is the radiation that emanates from each pair of category 5 or higher wire pairs. So as you recall, 1 and 2 connect to 3 and 6, and 3 and 6 connect to 1 and 2 on the other side. And the way, 1 second, gotta let somebody else in. And the way it works is the longer the distance, the more EMI interferes with the signal. And the idea is after 100 meters, the EMI will begin to degrade the signal. So that's why the pairs are twisted. And, Cat 5 is really the industry standard. Now, you can do Cat 6 easily today. If you walk into Best Buy, you can find either Cat 5 or Cat 6. And obviously, it started off back in the day with Cat 3. So the difference between Cat 3 and Cat 5 is that there's more twists per meter. So the more twists that there are, the greater that EMI is, basically canceled out. And obviously, Cat 6 is more twists than Cat 5, but it still only goes up to 100 meters. Now, the reason why 100 base FX is so much better is because FX means fiber optic, which means instead of using copper to conduct electricity or conduct a signal, it uses light. And light it does not have the vulnerability to EMI that copper does. So for that reason, fiber optics connections can go much farther. And we can go over trunking types. And actually, I'm not going to. This is for when I upload this for everyone after class. You can take a look at this yourself. You can just double click. But I will tell you that basically a trunk is something like you have a switch right here. You have a switch right here. And then they're connected to each other. Now, connected to each switch might be a different VLAN. So you have green VLAN here. You have a blue VLAN here. And the problem is that let's say blue is admin. Sorry, I cannot draw. I cannot write admin. Oh my God, it looks horrible. Well, you know what? Let's just do it right here. Can everyone see Packet Tracer?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, so let's just put a switch right here. Let's do this switch. This is the 3650, and that's different than the 3560. 3650 just has more things you can do with it. Unfortunately, you have to, with the 3650 in Packet Tracer, you have to slide the power supply in order for it to turn on. Because if you bring this other one here and you click on it and you don't slide the AC power, it'll yell at you. It says the device must be turned on. Okay, so we'll do that in just a second. Now, if we wanted to replicate the real world, we want to make sure this power cover plate is on here because any open area in a data center or anywhere in a data center closet or even in a climate controlled data center, that's going to be, dust is going to get through, so you want to just do the cover plate. Now we have here some open slots. Let me see if I can zoom in. Wait a second. Why can't? Oh, okay. Here's the zoom in. So can hopefully everyone can see this. Here's open slots. So these are just your Ethernet slots. So if we go to command line, enable show IP interface brief. Those are giga Ethernet slots 10101 all the way to 10/24, and the additional 4 slots are 11, 112, 113, and 114. Okay, and let me zoom in again. Okay, we got those right here. So what we want to do is we can actually put in this GBIC. This is a GBIC. A GBIC allows you to connect here. You can slide it in here and connect this fiber optic connection right here. Okay, and we'll just do that. And we'll do the same thing to this side. The first thing we have to do is we have to slide the power supply here, and then slide the cover plate here, and let's slide this GBIC here. And again, we can click on it. We can review what it says. It operates in gigabit Ethernet ports and routers. So this is an existing gigabit port, and we're just sliding this GBIC out. So that's what it looks like on the outside, these two little connections right here. So you connect that fiber optic cable into there. So now these are like this. Okay, and now we can select the fiber cable. Hopefully you see that. That's the tan gold cable. And then we can connect gig 111 to gig 111. Here, see that symmetrical routing? And this is spanning tree protocol in action. We can see the light is orange right now it's figuring, I know it's really goofy. It's not intuitive. Of course, you're going to be forwarding these ports because it's one link, but you have to understand, as a switch, you're kind of like an appliance, right? And when you're an appliance, you don't know anything. You have to be told. So it just has to go through the spanning tree protocol, and then now they can communicate. So let's create some visual VLANs. What does a visual VLAN look like? So we'll say that the yellow VLAN will be here, and the blue one is here. Let me put this. And we'll have two computers. We'll have a couple computers in this VLAN, and we'll have a couple computers in this blue VLAN. And let's label it. So we'll say yellow is 192.168.3.0/24, and then green is equal to 192.168.10.0/24. Okay, so maybe what do you think? One second. Okay, so let's say we're at the casino. Okay, yellow could be the house. I know, and green could be uh, the slot machine area. Okay, so before we press on, can somebody tell me why? Can somebody name me the justifications of why we need VLANs even in the first place? Especially in this case, we'll call it Lucky Strike Casino. So why would the house want to be in a different network than the slot machine area?
I mean, I could explain how VLANs work if that's what you're asking, but I don't understand your example of the house and the slot machine.
Oh, good. I thank you for speaking up. Do you know what I mean by the house? You don't know what I mean by the house?
Uh, no, I don't know stuff about the casino.
Oh, okay. Well, have you ever heard of the phrase "the house always wins"?
So the house would be the casino.
Yes,
Basically?
yeah, absolutely. Have you ever seen any movies about casinos, like Ocean's 11 or
11, I think maybe.
Bringing Down the House? Remember Bringing Down the House with Kevin Spacey? I'm just talking about any movie about where you have, maybe the main characters have gone to the casino or something like that. We've all seen, heard stories, right? That the casino monitors the players, and if the player maybe wins a little bit too much at blackjack, does the house encourage that, or do they try to discourage it?
No, yeah.
Okay, so
Discourage it.
even I'm not picking on casinos. It's just I was having a conversation with somebody, prior to this, and casinos always seemed like an interesting topic. But let's even talk about McDonald's. Like McDonald's, think of all the technologies that exist within McDonald's. Think of everything that's going on when you walk into a McDonald's. Okay, you have you know, your customer area, with their free Wi-Fi. You have people, doing a lot of transactions with their credit cards. You have, vendors who come in and out, and they should all be given their own network, if nothing else. I mean, the first thing that VLANs address is just purely and simple the sheer number of clients. So simply because of all the broadcasts that naturally go on just with DHCP. And did you know Spanning Tree Protocol? That's also a broadcast. Okay? It broadcasts to everyone. You think the bridge protocol data unit election process of selecting a root bridge doesn't take a lot of networking juice? It really does. It absolutely does. And that's just coming from the switches. Okay, so you got switches that essentially send out broadcast layer 2 um, requests, and because they all send out their MAC addresses in the BPDU election process, okay, but you also have DHCP by each individual computer. Okay, that's why with Spanning Tree Protocol, one of the first revisions of it to make it more modern was you actually have per VLAN Spanning Tree Protocol. Okay, let that sink in. Not only do you have all these switches that are doing the BPDU election, selecting the root bridge, you actually having it do it per VLAN. So every VLAN, every individual's VLAN has their own root bridge. Okay, that just it. So all of this activity, just by virtue of connecting your switches, just by virtue of turning your PC on, you're getting a lot of network activity. So looking at this, we want to keep these in different VLANs. So let's go ahead and can and actually I'm going to X this out because somebody out there has their. Okay, yeah, thank you. I'm going to X this out, and I'm going to go to open, and I'm just going to not saves. I'm going to go to where did I have that? 12.2 Spanning Tree. Maybe I did not save it. Well, and actually, we'll just do it on this one. So let me just quickly run through this. I'm just going to do one IP address. So let's do 192.168.3.1. And we'll just do .10. And we'll do default gateway .1 for the heck of it. And so why would, and then here is the trunk right here, just to review with everyone. Let's just do this one right here, and let's configure this. Okay, and let's connect this to this router, to this, I'm sorry, this layer. Right now, this is a layer 2 switch mode. And let me connect to this. Okay, and now what we can do is we could put these into this VLAN. Yellow equals, we'll call it the house. We'll call it VLAN 3. And we'll call this one VLAN 10. So let me go to this switch. Enable. Configuration terminal. And then we have interface range G1/0/1 to 2, and we'll say switch port mode access, and then switch port access VLAN 3, and VLAN does not exist, creating VLAN 3. Let's go to exit, and then let's do VLAN 3, and then let's call it the house. N. And then we could do show VLAN brief. And we actually have VLAN 3, the house, and we have the two interfaces in this VLAN. And somebody wants to join, I think. Okay. You guys got to join in on time. I mean, it's very disruptive. Anyway, so let's connect this guy. Let's connect it to 103, and this is connected to 104. And again, conf t interface range gig 10/4 to gig 10/3 to 4, and then we can do switch port mode access, and then switch port access VLAN 10, and then go to exit, and then VLAN 10, name, slot machines. Okay? And believe it or not, each of these could be slot machines. Okay? And these PCs, they could be, devices that are recording, that are have, maybe cameras, recording. And so you'd want these, and the thing is with VLANs, you want to separate things by technology as well. And in some of the videos that you watched, you heard me. Did you not hear me speak about some of the high velocity centers that Ford has? With high velocity centers, you have, with high velocity centers, okay, you have different wireless technologies, right? Just with wireless, you have phones, wireless phones. I'll just do phones, and then we have manless, I guess, vehicles, driverless vehicles. Okay. You have walkie-talkies. And you have scan guns. Okay. Scan guns, do you know what high velocity centers? Can somebody tell me at high velocity centers where speed is utmost? A high velocity center is basically, just in time manufacturing. So you have all the inventory there, but trucks come in and they load and unload. Okay? Can you tell me what piece of technology is the most important thing in high velocity centers? Can somebody take a guess?
Is it trunking? VLAN trunking?
No, I'm talking about one piece of physical technology. I apologize. It should have been more exact and precise. So, what piece of technology that we all probably used at one point in time is the most important thing at high velocity centers? Just so you know, Ford calls them high velocity centers. Stellantis calls them parts depots. So what is the most important thing? We deal with it every day. I'll give you a clue. Whenever you pick something up via a truck, you need something to show proof that you did pick it up.
Receipt.
Right, and what generates receipts?
Servers.
Printers, yeah, very good. For some reason, I don't want to say for some reason, it's kind of obvious, but it's something that everyone overlooks. The idea is that if you and printers are networked together, so if you get disconnected from a printer, then guess what? The truck cannot leave the parts depot or the high velocity center, and that makes the next phase shut down. And if the next phase, anytime a plant is shut down, it costs hundreds of thousands of dollars every minute. So that's why technologically wise they all have to be separated, because you don't want, for example, if and again I'm implying that yes there is another uh, partition, and as I said, that is for printers. So if for some reason, the reason why you'd want like your walkie-talkies or your driverless vehicles on a different network or VLAN than the printers is because if somebody is in this VLAN and they download some sort of a virus, it won't affect, for example, the printers. But it's more than that. Let's say somebody's in this VLAN and they turn on their computer, even a momentary instance of broadcast radiation could block the printer queue, and it may delay. And we all know how frustrating that is. So believe it or not, in this high velocity center, you might have, like, for example, 10 VLANs, but only like 4 people. That's what makes high velocity centers so cost effective, because everything is run. It's almost like in the Amazon store, in which everything is touchless, and the point of sale is just there's no human there. Similar to it's like that at these parts depots or high velocity centers. It's like there's only like 1 or 2 people, but it's a huge facility, and there's all these technologies. Every technology has to have their own VLAN, so you wind up with 10 VLANs and like maybe 2 people. And I know that's counterintuitive to everyone, but that's just the way it is. So moving on, there is a need. So now it's like, well, let's go ahead and program this in. So for example, this is going to be 192.168.10.1 what's this, 10.10, and let's just do this. That the default gateway is the .1, and this will be .8, .9, we'll just say, and this will be .1. So they're in separate VLANs. So this should be able to ping this. This should be able to ping this, and oh gosh darn it, this stupid this message right here. So hopefully we'll be done in 15 minutes, because I had to go to Ypsilanti for my IT 321 class. So anyways, that's successful. But here's the thing: this should not be able to message that, and it won't. Now the thing is, I'm not going to have time to work on this right now, but there are times when you do want to at least be able to message this side, but because they're in different networks, what do you need for them to be able to connect to each other and talk to each other? You need a router. Okay? Now, I don't have time to talk about that today, but I think I'm going to give that in homework and have a little demonstration for you. But again, let's go ahead and finish. So what is the purpose of a trunk? A trunk allows you to extend. Yes, but I want you to, Zion, contact me. Just send me a message right now, or at least at noon, and then we can on text me 248-765-7208, and I will put that in message. 248-765-7208. and send me a text message. Anyways,
Sorry, Professor, you said text you of what?
I did you see my well Zion wants to talk with me, so I just said text me on my phone right
okay.
after class.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Anyways, so the whole point of trunking, so this will be our trunk. But what exactly does that mean? Well, when it comes to VLANs, there's when it comes to I guess VLAN interfaces, okay, you're basically either an access or a trunk. Access only deals with boy, between you and me and the lamppost, I am so happy the semester's almost over. Because I've been feeling myself like myself. It only deals with one VLAN at a time. So when you think of an access, just think it's associated with one VLAN at a time. A trunk can transfer multiple VLANs at a time, and you want that because hey, like you might have any reason why you want to extend these switches because maybe you want to add ports or whatever, but there might be an instance where you need to have a computer that is either in the yellow or blue network. So, for example, let's say you have, and this applies to any enterprise environment. Let's say you have a university, okay, and the university says you have a university. You have your let's say this yellow is instead of the admin of the casino, maybe it's the admin of the school, and here's the student center. But guess what? Maybe you want to have the admin in another you know in another switch, if that makes sense. So what we can do is connect this switch, and all we have to do is put gig 101 in that VLAN. So enable conf t interface gig 10/1 switch port mode access switch port access VLAN 3, and it's create. So now these two can connect with each other. But here's the thing: does anybody see the vulnerability here? The vulnerability is the fact that we only have one connection. So if that one connection is severed, we're done. We are absolutely done, because what if this is at the Lucky Strike Casino? What if you have computers monitoring everyone on this side? So these are computers. And what if you have the server on this side and it's storing the stuff, the images? Because if you catch a guy counting cards or cheating or whatever, the evidence will come from the server, because that's getting that is constantly being sent over here, and it's being served at this server. So if you confront the guy, and for legal reasons, let's say you want to have evidence, you're taking it from the server. But if this connection is severed, you're screwed. So you want to add another link here to make sure that if this goes down, the other link takes over. So let's go ahead and click on this, and let's add another fiber optic connection. So we can just slide this here. And before we do that, let's take a look at our existing interfaces. And I don't have to do this. I can just go to configuration. And then here we have our interfaces right here. Gig 1.1. Okay. Gig 1.2, Gig 1.3. And actually, let me just go to the command line interface after all. Show IP interface brief. Okay, so let's see. So gig 111 is up. And the other thing about this switch I wanted to say is if you take a look at gig 1.1, we can see that it is referenced by the VLAN. Okay, so let's go back and let's go to the physical. Let's put in another fiber optic interface here. And let's go to this one, this other switch, this connecting switch, and put another GBIC here for fiber optic. And let's connect our fiber optic cable, gig 112 to gig 112. Now the idea now is we want to create a link between these. So it's called Ether channel. What Ether channel does is they bond these two links together, so you're getting better bandwidth. Right now, why only is this forwarding, and why is this not forwarding? And that's because of Spanning Tree Protocol. Spanning Tree Protocol is now, it's doing something we don't want it to do. We want both of these in forwarding because it shares bandwidth. It increases bandwidth. But right now, it's screwing us up because it's blocking these ports. Take a look at this one. Take a look at this switch. If we go and we do show spanning tree, and we can see that gig 1's, let's see. Yeah, 1.1 right here. 112, see that is blocked. It is blocked. So that means we can't carry anything. So we have to bond them together through Ether channel. So let's do exit and let's do interface gig 10 interface range gig 101/1 to 2, and then we can do channel group, and we can do 1, and then let's do mode, let's do desirable. And let's do the same thing on this side. Conf T, and we can do gig. Let's see, interface range gig 101/1 all the way to 2, and then we can do channel group. Oh, let's see. Sorry about this. Okay, we can do channel dash group, and then that's 1. The numbers should match. We did desirable before. Let's do auto. And now the thing is, we want to trunk these. We want to put them in a trunk. So if we do show IP interface brief, we have a port channel 1 right there. So we created a port channel. So let's do config T interface port channel 1, and then we could do switch port mode trunk, and now we've trunked it, and we could do the same thing on this side. Show IP interface brief port channel 1. So we can do conf T configuration term interface port channel 1, and then switch port mode trunk. Okay? And from here, we can do show interfaces trunk, and then we can see that trunking is on, and we can see that port channel 1 and 3 is the trunk, PO1. Okay, so hopefully everyone understands the concept of the port channel and the idea of bundling. Now, just so everyone knows, um, there's a couple names for it in case you're ever doing your own research. We have port channel and ether channel as the official names of what we're doing here of ether channel or linking the ports. It's called link aggregation, also known as port channel and ether channel. Okay. All right. This is going to cut out in just a second, so be prepared. For some homework being uploaded tonight, and don't forget, you have that little Quizlet to do if you haven't done so. Anyways, thank you very much, and everyone have a great day.
You too, Professor. Bye.
You too.